In this video, I'm going to be going over why is a shell called a shell. So the first reason, or the first, basically nobody knows for sure why the shell is called the shell. It's a really goofy thing to call it. So I have no idea why it was called the shell, but for whatever reason, it's called the shell. So the shell is we went over what the shell is, but the first we went over what the shell is in the previous video. However, why is the shell called the shell? Well, the first reason that I'm given is that the shell refers to a nut analogy. The shell is a metaphor to a nut analogy. The kernel is the core of the system, the core of the nut, whilst the shell, or the shell of the nut, surrounds it, and is the interface between the kernel and everything outside the shell, such as the user. And here you can see, kind of that in play. Here's the kernel, and then here's the shell. And so the kernel and the shell, the shell is supposed to be the outermost layer of the operating system, protecting the kernel, the nut inside. Here's another one kind of illustrating that concept. Here's another one. So that was the first reason I was given as to why the shell is called the shell. The second reason is if you look at the logo of Multics. So Multics was is an influential, very time-sharing operating system. It's a very, very early operating system that was developed in 1964. So if you look at it here, it resembles a shell. It has an outer shell. So that was another reason that I was given as to why the shell is. So I did some research and I did some digging, and this right here, the original coining of the shell, we may is this right here. So this paper was published April 2nd, 1965, and here we go. We may envision a common procedure called automatically by the supervisor whenever a user types in some message at his console, at a time when he has no other process in active execution under the console control, presently called command level. This procedure acts as an interface between console messages and subroutine. The purpose of such a procedure is to create a medium of exchange into which one could activate any procedure as if it were called from the inside of another program. Hereafter, for simplification, we shall refer to that procedure as shell. So so this obviously doesn't explain why it was coined as shell, but it is. But this is the moment. This is the paper that coined the term shell, and it was coined. It was made. It was coined by this guy. What's his name? Louis Poisson, and I'll make a video about him. And so this article, this paper, this 37 page paper, this is where in April 2nd, 1965, the term the shell was coined. So he doesn't go into why he's explaining why he calls it the shell. They just decided to call it the shell. So and you can have it, you can believe whatever you want, the metaphor, or that the Multics, or they just pulled and they flipped through the dictionary and just picked whatever they felt at the time. But whatever the reason the shell is called the shell, it's called the shell. It's a goofy name for it, but that's what it's called. So, and yep, that's that. If you guys like these videos, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and help the channel out. Appreciate you.